Thank you for watching this video until it is finished. If useful to you guys, please like and share this video. If you have any suggestions for us, leave a message in the comments field. Always support us by clicking the subscribe button, because it means a lot to us. To the next video. See you.
No. Money. Yeah, I welcome everybody in the meeting. I think I'm audible now. Hello.
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay, I hand over to Anuradha our today's course. Anuradha, please take over.
Good afternoon, everybody. ICA and Insolvency Professional Anuradha Gupta welcome you all on behalf of All India Insolvency Professionals Association along with NCLT, Kolkata Bar Association. We are hosting this webinar. This is a very beautifully designed webinar, and I had the pleasure to be a part of dynamic, energetic, knowledgeable minds of the profession. Right now, in this webinar, Ashish Makhija will take us to a journey of the recent Supreme Court judgments affecting
Ma'am, your voice is lagging, seems to be.
I'd like to say a few words about Ashish Makhija. Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, this is okay now.
Okay. आशीष मखीजा जी के बारे में मैं क्या कहूँ, सूरज को दीपक दिखाने के बराबर है. He has always been a mentor and teacher for all of IPs. He is a leading practitioner in insolvency and corporate law matters, and he is the managing attorney of AMC Law Firms, which is headquartered in New Delhi. He is academically a very brilliant person and has been awarded gold medal. Ashish Makhija is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and he has pursued many degrees after that. And many of us have passed the examination because of Ashish Makhija ji. Now I'll ask Navneet Kumar Jain ji to take over the show.
Thank you, Nurta ma'am. Hearty good evening to all of you. Ashish Makhija sir, first of all, let me take the privilege to welcome you over here. In fact, it's really a privilege to be part of this session because मैं कहता हूँ कि जैसे मैम आपने बोला खीजा सर के पढ़ाने से हम काफी लोग आईपी बने हैं. मुझे याद है आज से मेरे का 2017 की ही बात है, and I got the privilege to be a co-faculty with Makhija sir in one of the session in Mayur Vihar. तो मैंने सर का सेशन सुना because I was sitting over there. मैं सेशन सुना and I had appeared IP examination twice and qualified. मैंने सर को उसी दिन बोला, मैंने कहा सर, had I attended your session earlier, मैं इतना पक्का दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि पहली अटेम्प्ट में ये पास हो जाता. तो जिस तरीके से सर बताते हैं, that is really, कहते हैं ना, इतना बढ़िया तरीके से you can say explains each and everything so thoroughly that anybody who is not aware of the thing, even he understands. एक और आपको चीज बताता हूँ. I'm a faculty at IICA also. We keep conducting various sessions for the GIP professionals over there, GIP students. One day I was having a discussion with GIP students, and then just during the discussion they asked, okay, sir, if Ashish Makhija sir can take our session. I contacted sir. Sir immediately said yes. He is always ready to help everybody. That is what I have practically seen.
Yes.
And the way we got the response from there, it was marvelous from all the GIP students. Marvelous, sir. That one thing I can tell you. Now I'm coming to our recent SC judgments. Today's topic, practically affecting IP practice.
नवनीत जी, 1 second interruption.
Yeah.
अगर आप मेरा मैसेज पढ़ो चैट बॉक्स में पहला और वो पढ़ दो तो इट विल बी वेरी नाइस.
अरे सर,
टीचर्स डे सर, that I be reading sir, I be reading. Please carry on. नंदू जी carry on, please carry on.
ठीक है सर, वो भी पढ़ लेते हैं आपका. एंड सर ये जो इनफैक्ट जो जजमेंट्स के बारे में अभी आज की डेट में जो रिसेंट जजमेंट सबसे ज्यादा जो आज की डेट में रेनबो वाली आई है, एंड आई थिंक उसके बारे में एवरीबॉडी इज कंसर्न व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन नियर फ्यूचर एंड व्हाट विल हैपन टू द you can say various type of plans which have been already passed. So many things are there where we are concerned. Welcome Madan sir, welcome Anupam Lahiri sir. So thank you Madan. Namaskar sir. So तो Anupam Lahiri ji secretary NCLT में है sir. Thanks for joining us over here. And going by the persons who are present over here and having a detailed discussions on the, I can say one thing, that once we are going to close this session in the evening, we will be well versed with each and every outcome of that SC judgment and how it will to impact us. With that, I won't take too much of a time. Manoj ji, I'll hand over to you for further proceedings. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई थिंक कुछ पीछे से डिस्टर्बेंस आ रही है, मैं सबको पहले म्यूट कर देता हूँ. नो इट विल बी, नो आई थिंक देयर विल बी वोंट बी एनी डिस्टर्बेंस. सर जब पीछे सर जब आप स्टार्ट करोगे तो प्लीज देन यू कैन अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ एट दैट टाइम. यू ऑलरेडी बीन मेड को-होस्ट, सो यू हैव ऑल द फैसिलिटीज व्हाट वी कैन डू. सर वी आर रियली थैंकफुल. सर आप सब लोगों ने बड़ी अच्छी इंट्रोडक्शन दी मुखीजा सर जी की, और टीचर्स डे भी है, यही हमारे सर ने शिवनंदन सर जी ने हमारे चैट बॉक्स में कहा था. तो हमारे सर सत प्रणाम सब स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से आशीष मुखीजा जी को, और सर हमारा प्रणाम आप एक्सेप्ट करिए. और इनफैक्ट मदान सर भी आप हैं, मदान सर भी हमारे टीचर हैं सर, हमने मदान सर से भी बहुत कुछ सीखा है. एटलीस्ट आई ऑलवेज रिमेम्बर कि मैं अगर आईपी बनाऊं तो इनका मैंने एक छोटा सा लेक्चर सुन लिया था वीवीएस में, वैसे ही एक जनरल वैसे तो उसके बाद पढ़ाई लिखाई करके यानी कि आईपी बन गया। तो वी आर रियली थैंकफुल, वी आर रियली एनलाइटेंड। मुकीजा सर और मदान सर जो हमारे यहाँ पे इस समय आईबीसी के अंदर यू नो कहते हैं ना एक हाईली रिप्यूटेड और हाईली प्रैक्टिसिंग advocate as far as IBC is concerned. Akhil ji, I also welcome to you. Welcome, please. And चलिए सर, अब हम let's come to the topic without taking much time. And yes, sir. Sir, actually, you know, everybody, most of the people are aware of it. Sir, again, a lot of disturbances coming out to be there.
Sir, I am taking care of that. No issues. I will.
Yeah. हाँ प्लीज आप सबको म्यूट कर देना। नाउ डिस्टर्बेंस इज ओवर सर। और सर ये क्या कहते हैं, नवनीत जी सबको एडमिट भी करते रहना आप, जो काफी लोग एंटर कर रहे हैं साथ साथ में, प्लीज गो एडमिटिंग देम आल्सो। यस सर। या सर आईबीसी जो है हमारा पिछले 5 साल से थोड़ा सा एक्ट स्टार्ट हुआ, तो पहले 4-5 साल तो हमारे को इसको समझने में ही लग गए। समझने का मतलब ये कि वी थॉट ऑफ इट्स एन इवॉल्विंग यू नो कोड एंड वी नीड सम टाइम टू अंडरस्टैंड इट। लेकिन सर मैं ये देख रहा हूँ कि पिछले 2-3-4 महीने से स्पेशली फ्रॉम द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट साइड यू नो इट हैज बिकम रिवॉल्विंग नाउ। You know, what is happening is that why I'm saying it has become revolving now. ये इन्वॉल्विंग के साथ साथ रिवॉल्विंग के होता जा रहा है कि बहुत सारे कंसेप्ट जो हमने एग्जाम पढ़ने के टाइम पे बीएलआरसी रिपोर्ट के अंदर या अदरवाइज हमने समझने की कोशिश करी थी, उन सब चीजों के ऊपर रिवर्सल आ रहा है। हो सकता है क्या रिवर्सल ना आ रहा हो, हमारे को आशीष सर मुकीजा सर अभी एनलाइटन करेंगे। हमारे समझने में रिवर्सल आ रहा है या क्या कहते हैं सम सॉर्ट ऑफ मिसकंसेप्शंस, व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज ए choice are being created whereby you know things are moving in such a way you know we are feeling that it is becoming more like a evolve, तो जितना होना था हो गया, like a revolving this thing कि BLRC अगर कहता था कि टाइमलाइन अगर इम्पोर्टेंट है तो उसका हम देख रहे हैं झज्जियां उड़ रही हैं, मे बी नॉट आर एंड मे बी एट द एंड ऑफ द जुडिशरी। बीएलआरसी ने ये कहा था कि जो हमारा सेक्शन 53 है उसको पार्ट 3 पार्ट बनाया था ये गवर्नमेंट ड्यूज को, आफ्टर लॉट ऑफ थिंकिंग, आफ्टर लॉट ऑफ डेलिब्रेशन। लेकिन जो हमारी अब सेल्स टैक्स ऑफिसर वर्सेस अभी जो जजमेंट हम डिस्कस करेंगे रेनबो पेपर मिल वाली, उसके अंदर उस चीज को ओवरराइड कर लिया गया है। यू नो ऑनरेबल जजेस हैव कम आउट वेरी यू नो विद दिस थिंग कि जितने भी रेशन प्लान्स हैं जो विदाउट taking care of government dues those should be you know not adhered or something like that। डिटेल के बारे में शीत जी हमारे को बताएंगे। सर you know we people are we all people Meher I think you are disturbing us। एक मिनट सर। तो उनका जो था हमारा जो ये था कि जैसे हम लोग उससे पहले ऑडिटिंग की, टैक्सेशन की या उसकी प्रैक्टिस करते थे, तो सिंस आई वाज फ्रॉम ए कोर्ट टैक्सेशन प्रैक्टिस, तो मैं ये देखता था कि हमारे यहाँ पे हर साल एक एवरीबॉडी नोज कि हमारे यहाँ पे एनुअल बजट आता है। तो एनुअल बजट के अंदर ना वैसे तो ये होता था कि वो देखना कि उसके अंदर क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, लेकिन कुछ पिछले 10-15 सालों से ऐसा हो रहा था कि एनुअल बजट जो आ रहा था ना उसके जो 30 या 40% प्रोविजंस होते थे ना वो वाले आ रहे थे कि जिसके अंदर जो ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कुछ कहा होता था ड्यूरिंग द लास्ट 1 ईयर और दे कम आउट विद एनी यू नो कॉन्ट्ररी जजमेंट जो कि एक जिसकी एक रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं थी एज पर टैक्सेशन एक्ट और जो एज पर गवर्नमेंट उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं थी, उनको रिवर्सल करना होता था। यू नो बाय ब्रिंगिंग दैट अमेंडमेंट दे वर रिवर्सिंग मोस्ट ऑफ दोज सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट। जैसे आई रिमेंबर सेक्शन 148, रेड विद सेक्शन 147, 271 1C, सेक्शन 9 सब सेक्शन सी, इनके ऊपर बहुत सारी ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इंटरप्रिटेशन करी थी और जो कि हर बजट के अंदर उनको अमेंडमेंट लाके उनका रिवर्सल किया जाता था। अब मेरे को ये लग रहा है यू नो स्पेशली ऑन द लास्ट 5-6 मंथ्स कि आईबीसी के अंदर हमारा वही हाल हो रहा है। Because we are seeing the kind of judgments which we are you know seeing nowadays, जैसे कि आज हमने अपनी डेलिब्रेशन के लिए 3 जजमेंट्स रखी हैं सर, मे बी इफ रिक्वायर्ड तो अदर विल आल्सो बी डिस्कस। जैसे क्या कहते हैं विदर्भा इंडस्ट्री पावर की रखी है, एक स्टेट टैक्स ऑफिसर वर्सेस रेनबो पावर की रखी है और एक हमने गुरमीत सोधी की रखी है। तो अगर हम इन तीनों जजमेंट्स को देखें ना तो इसके अंदर क्या नाम इसका जो एक सेटल्ड पोजीशन थी जो एक हमारे जैसे कहते हैं ना कि हमारी एक लिखने में कोई भी आदमी कुछ भी गलती कर सकता है, तो जब एक्ट फ्रेम किया जाता है तो एवरीबडी कैन कमिट मिस्टेक इन इट एंड बट जो प्रेम्बल था हमारे ये आईबीसी के आने का, जो एक बीएलआरसी की रिपोर्ट जिसको हम कहते हैं, हमने जब बीएलआरसी की रिपोर्ट के अंदर अगर ये कहा था उसके अंदर कि ये जो कोड आ रहा है, इट द preamble of this code is timeliness. Because why they said timeliness? Because the government was having a very bad experience of earlier such things. कि उनका जो था वो जब वाइफर के अंदर था, आईफर के अंदर केसेस आर रनिंग फॉर years and years, and that is why to cut that thing short 90 days 180 days करा गया, या 270 days या 330 days करा गया. लेकिन ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, आई रिमेंबर स्विंद्रा ट्रेडिंग के अंदर पहली जजमेंट दी थी, वेयर एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली पीटी राजन और जजमेंट्स आई थी. नंदी जी प्लीज टेक केयर ऑफ म्यूटिंग एवरीबॉडी. यस. तो व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज दैट कि एक ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये इंटरप्रिटेशन ली कि विद गिवन लॉजिक कि ये जो जुडिशरी के लिए काम करना है वो डायरेक्टरी नेचर है, जो टाइमलेस उनके प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है, वो टाइम लाइंस क्या कहते हैं डायरेक्टरी नेचर है, और जो अदर देन दैट है, चाहे उसमें मेनली टाइमलेस हम लोगों के नहीं आती थी, तो वो जो है मैंडेटरी नेचर है. In fact, I request everybody that they should mute themselves, because हम लोग यहाँ पे जब सबको अनम्यूट करते हैं ऑटोमेटिकली.
मनोज जी एक बार अनम्यूट कीजिए प्लीज अपने आप को.
Is that okay? So what I mean to say is that some disturbance is coming from their unmute and unmute. So what I mean to say actually, और नवनीत जी आपने करा तो मैं भी unmute हो गया उसमें. I could not realize that thing. चलिए इन नहीं करना, I should take care. तो मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सुंदर ट्रेडिंग के बीच में, जब पीटी राजन के बीच में, जब इसी तरह से एक दो जजमेंट्स के और बीच में ये कहा कि ये और जुडिशरी के लिए टाइमलाइन जो भी है इट इज डायरेक्टरी नेचर, एंड फॉर अदर देन दैट इट इज मैंडेटरी नेचर. एट दैट टाइम वी वर नॉट हैविंग मच एसोसिएशन वर्किंग फॉर अस, एंड वी इनफैक्ट आईपीस भी ज्यादा नहीं थे, so there was no opposition from that side. I personally feel, it's my personal feeling, that it is a highly discriminatory. चलिए अगर ये क्या कहते हैं 14 डेज की टाइमलाइन है फॉर एडमिशन ऑफ एप्लीकेशन, वो एक रियलिस्टिक नहीं है, तो आप एक्ट को मेट करके उसको 14 डेज की जगह 3 महीने कर दीजिए. बट एब्सोल्युटली गोइंग वे विद इट एंड ट्रीटिंग टाइमलाइन, जो कि हमारा आईबीसी का एक प्रेम्बल था, कि आईबीसी का एक यानी कि एक क्या कहते हैं ना एक पिलर था कि टाइमलाइन का. अब उसका असर देखिए क्या हो रहा है. एवरीबॉडी नोज एडमिशन के अंदर मेरे कुछ केसेस आए 2.5 साल हो गए, अभी तक उनका एडमिशन ही नहीं हुआ. इट इज 2.5 years. मेरे बहुत सारे ब्रदर्स का रजिस्ट्रेशन प्लान अप्रूवल के लिए पड़े होंगे, और कितने टाइम से पड़े होंगे मैं डेफिनेटली कह सकता हूँ, महीनों की बात तो नहीं, कुछ सालों की बात भी हो सकता है कि कहीं का रजिस्ट्रेशन प्लान अप्रूवल के लिए पड़े हों वहां पे. तो what happened is that कि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट many a times in their wisdom they do look into the perspective of particular section in their own perspective, लेकिन उसका लॉन्ग रन में बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट पड़ता है. अब आते हैं आज हमारे जो 3 केसेस हैं उनकी मैं एक टोन सेट कर देता हूं, उसके बाद मखीजा साहब हमारे को गाइड करेंगे. जैसे गुरमीत सोदी जी का केस है, ललित कुमार जैन जी का केस आया था, उसके अंदर पर्सनल कंडक्ट्स के मोस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स वर सेटल्ड. अगेन नाउ गुरमीत सोदी जी का जो केस है, इसके अगेंस्ट कोई बंदा इस समय सुप्रीम कोर्ट चला जाए और अपनी पर्सनल कंडक्ट के केस के अगेंस्ट स्टे लिया है. विदर्भ इंडस्ट्रीज पावर लिमिटेड सेकंड केस हम डिस्कस करेंगे. इसके अंदर क्या है कि if the honorable courts have held, so honorable supreme court have held that if CD because of some reasons is not able to pay, and then no crip can be started against him by reversing the decision of NCLAT. तीसरा हमारा जो केस है, जो कि टॉक ऑफ द टाउन है फॉर द लास्ट 3 days, क्योंकि 3 दिन पहले ही इसकी जजमेंट आई थी, सेल टैक्स ऑफिसर वर्सेस रेनबो पेपर्स लिमिटेड. broadly it says, यानी broadly it says, I'm saying broadly because deeply ये ऐसी बात नहीं करता जब हम सर हमारे को सिखाएंगे कि ये असल में क्या कहता है, ये इसने जो प्रायोरिटी स्ट्रक्चर है वो गवर्नमेंट ड्यूज का, उसको सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर्स का साथ ला दिया है, मीनिंग देयर बाय जो हमारा एक अच्छा सेक्शन है 53 का वाटरफॉल मैकेनिज्म जिसको हम कहते हैं, उसके अंदर इसको सब सेक्शन 1 के अंदर इसको ला दिया है, जो कि इसकी जो ऑलरेडी यानी एग्जिस्टिंग सेक्टर था, एग्जिस्टिंग सेक्टर के अंदर ये सब सेक्शन 3 के अंदर। So all these things are, basically unsettling everything. In fact, we have a talk with the senior officers also. Sir, we must share करेंगे कि they are also of the view that we need to bring some amendment to counter these honorable Supreme Court judgments. So, चलिए sir, I have taken a lot of time, but at last I shall say that as an IIPA, we feel कि हम अपने IP brothers के लिए कुछ भी अगर कोई ऐसी दिक्कत वाली बात आती है या कुछ भी ऐसी कोई रिक्वायरमेंट आती है जिसके अंदर हमारे को एक दूसरे को एनलाइटन करना है, तो वी ऑलवेज टेक ए चांस और ट्राई टू एनलाइटन विद ईच अदर। वैसे मैं आप सब लोगों के साथ शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि फॉर द लास्ट 5-6 months वी आर होल्डिंग 2 webinars, one in the 2nd Saturday and another in the 4th Saturday. उस सीरीज के अंदर हमारा ये 6th सेमिनार है and we are regularly doing it for the last 3-4 months. जब से हम लोगों ने इसको दोबारा से reactivate करा है for the last 3-4 months, and we are very happy that we are getting very encouraging response. We are getting response from the government authorities also. They do also call us, I don't know, after seeing our webinars with our efforts, and we have a discussion with them. और हाँ जी सर, इसमें एक सर मैं बात थोड़ी सी और करना चाहूंगा कि वी आर हैविंग अ डिस्कशन विद आरबीआई अथॉरिटीज। तो हम लोगों ने एक उनके सामने मुद्दा ये रखा कि हम आईपीएस को जब हम काम करते हैं तो हमारे को पब्लिक सर्वेंट भी बनाया जाए, हमारे को जो पब्लिक सर्वेंट की फैसिलिटीज दी जाती हैं वो भी दी जाए। तो उसके बारे में दे आर वेरी एक्सेप्टेबल, दे सेड कि आप बताइए लीगल वैसे कैसे ये किया जा सकता है। तो ये बात मैंने आप सब लोगों के साथ इस करके शेयर करी है कि अगर आपके हम लोग आईपीएस को as a public servant बनाया जाए, जाना बनाया जाए, we have also did little bit of R&D on it. तो अगर आपका भी कुछ opinion हो, कुछ हो, तो that you can share with us in our IIPA platform, for which my phone number is there, my other members' phone number is also there, and email is also there. You can share with that also, because जो मेरे को आज की डेट का जो maximum response मिला है, उसके accordingly we shall be having a very big benefits. थोड़े बहुत लॉसेज हैं दैट वी कैन फोटो फॉर दैट। तो प्लीज आपकी अगर कुछ इसके बारे में ओपिनियन हो तो वो आप करिए। अब बहुत ज्यादा मैंने आपका टाइम ले लिया। Now I hand over my mic to आशीष मुखीजा जी, and we love to listen you. सर, हम आज की डेट में भी आपके वही स्टूडेंट हैं जिन स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ा के आपने आईपी बनाया था। अब हमारे को दिक्कत आ रही है तो हम आपसे आपके पास आएंगे, आपका ओपिनियन जानेंगे, और ओपिनियन ही नहीं जानेंगे, आपसे उसका सोल्यूशन भी यानी कि लेंगे। तो सर प्लीज अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके now you can I humbly request you to start with those 3 cases.
So, first of all, very good evening to all my friends. I think I'm extremely delighted with the words which were used by Anuradha ji, Navneet ji, and Manoj ji. I mean, I'm speechless. Well, I don't know whether I deserve those kind of words or not. I do what I do. That's what I can say. I like to share, you see, my knowledge. That is my passion. As Navneet ji also shares his knowledge with so many students in GIP program. So we all love sharing those information. And I think along with me, Mr. GP Madan is also there. He's a very, very dear friend. And we respect each other. We gain knowledge from each other. We discuss quite often, you see, on the subject of insolvency and other related subjects also. And I can see a lot of my friends. Well, Manoj, I would like to just make a small correction. You said we are holding programs for our IP brothers. You stopped short of saying IP sisters also. At least you could have said IP colleagues, okay? You could have used that kind of a word, because we'll have to take out of our inside the masculine gender. We have to take it out nowadays, because you look at DLRC report.
गलती से मैंने कह दिया। आई एम हैप्पी कि वो ममता जी नहीं है अभी, उन्होंने ज्वाइन नहीं करा, ये तो उनसे भी बड़ी बुरी डांट पड़ती। In any case, that's for fun only.
No, it's not a
I'm
mistake.
there, actually. I'm on the streets. Please carry on.
आगे ममता जी वेलकम, ममता जी वेलकम।
Okay, Mamta ji is also there. I think we also welcome her. So anyhow, so friends, I think what I feel is that number one, and in fact, the AIIPA is doing a wonderful job. and you can look at the massive attendance which is in today's program. I think sharing knowledge and holding programs is not easy. I mean, organizing any program, first you have to make a flyer also, a creative also, publicize also, then you have to create a link, and so many other things are there. Having done that, I mean, I must appreciate the team effort of AIPA. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job, and please keep doing these kind of programs. And whenever you want me there, I will be there. So that's my promise to you, all of you. Okay,
Thank
friends.
you.
Now, insofar as IBC is concerned, we have seen so much of evolvement on last 6. I mean, this is the 6th year now. So we have been evolving. We always thought that some of the issues have already stand settled because of the landmark judgments of Supreme Court, and it was evolving even after that. On the issue of limitation, I believe everyone knows there have been almost around 13 to 15 judgments of Honorable Supreme Court only on the issue of limitation under IBC. So the subjects always remain fluid. And I think as lawyers, as counsels and RPs, as professionals, we must understand that things will keep on happening, because sometimes a new issue always goes before the Honorable Supreme Court. And at the end of the day, whatever law is declared by them, that becomes the law of land under Article 141 of the Constitution. We are all aware about it. Having said that, well, we have got a right to analyze all the Supreme Court judgments and also criticize, I would say, fair criticism, fair comment. I mean, I'm not saying criticizing the judges. We can have a fair comment on the judgments which have been passed. And that right, you see, is with us in a democracy like ours. Now, friends, without taking too much of a time, what I've done is, because I know that a lot of issues are hanging fire, or they are in the mind of all our professional colleagues. What I have done is I have sorted them out and put them in the form of a very short presentation. So I believe I have that sharing rights. So let me try. No, I think it says host disabled. Okay. Maybe I think you'll have to make me a co-host to enable that.
Sir, allowed.
Okay.
Sir, please share.
Yeah, now it is allowed. Yes, thank you. And friends, I was looking in the chat box. People want me to speak in English because there are a lot of friends from. Okay, it says stop sharing screen will stop others' computers. I mean, is somebody sharing them? Okay.
No, sir. No.
Yeah. Now I'm able to share. Okay. So they said, please speak in English because friends from our south and other people are there. So don't worry, I'm going to speak in English only. If I explain something in Hindi, I'll come back and explain in English again once again. So
sir, for that, I have started, this thing, auto description also.
Acha, transcript is also there. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you speak, that will be translated also. So I hope that will satisfy our South Indian friends.
Yeah, great. So I think, friends, as far as I'm going to deal first with the Rainbow Papers judgment, because this is the latest judgment which is in the minds of everyone. Let's understand the facts of the case, because first of all, I think all of us need to understand that every judgment of a Supreme Court or of any NCLAT or NCLT, it is dealt with, it is to be read in the facts and circumstances of each case. If the facts change, then the judgment can also change. So therefore, let's understand that. That's very important. In this particular case, the CIRP started on 12th of September 2017. And Sales Tax Department, while the company was in CIRP, they attached properties of the CD that was done on 8th October 2018 on account of non-payment of its dues, which initially they claimed around 57 crores, but in the facts of the case, it is mentioned that the claim was filed. Now, this is a statement of the Attorney General SG, who says that the claim was filed by the Sales Tax Department, that is the VAT department, before the RP for 47.36 crores. And the date is also mentioned. They say it was filed on 28/2/2018. And then the Sales Tax Department wrote to the RP to confirm the claim on 22/10/2018. So here I can also mention that at one place it is mentioned in the NCLAT's judgment that the claim was filed by the Sales Tax Department on 22/10/2018. So I believe there is some controversy as far as the date of filing of the claim is concerned, because NCLAT says it was filed on 22/10, but somewhere it is mentioned that it was filed on 28/2. So anyhow, be that as it may, at the end of the day, let's understand that it was filed belatedly. RP replied that the entire claim has been waived off. Yesterday also we were discussing, and Mr. Madan also pointed out that why the word waived off has been used. If somebody files a claim and the claim is not admitted, the RP should write that your claim has been rejected because it was filed belatedly. Now, waived off is generally the word which we use in the resolution plan. So probably he was referring to the resolution plan and saying that, look, your claim has been waived off because probably you filed a claim belatedly. So this is another aspect which is to be dealt. Then sales tax department challenged the resolution plan on 20/12/2018 before the NCLT. And then Ahmedabad bench rejected their application, saying that it is not maintainable. So that was rejected somewhere in February 2019. Naturally, appeal was filed by the sales tax department on 8th April, and appeal was also dismissed by NCLT. So these are the brief facts about that particular case. And their claims were under Gujarat Value Added Tax Act, GVAT. So let's call it as GVAT. So the claims were filed on GVAT. So on account of sales tax dues, interest, and penalty, all the three elements were there. Now, what were the reasons for rejection by NCLT? Now, this is very important because all the three reasons have been dealt by the Supreme Court in their judgment. And then I would say, and I have no nothing to you can say mince words. I will not mince words. Some sweeping statements have also been made, which were not required. According to me, they were not required, in my opinion. Sales tax approached RP at belated stage after approval of the resolution plan. So now here there comes a doubt. Whether if it was filed on 28/2, we don't know when the plan was approved, but appellate authority in its judgment writes that it was filed at a belated stage after approval of the resolution plan by the adjudicating authority. So therefore, the claim was not filed within time. So this is one fact. We presume that it was filed later, but we don't know exactly what happened. Sales tax department, they have also dealt that they are not a secured creditor. The sales tax department relied on section 48 of GVAT, and they said, look, any dues which are payable to the sales tax department, including interest and penalty, it creates a first charge on the property of the company. So therefore, we are a secured creditor for that purpose. This argument was rejected by NCLAT because they also mentioned in the same breath, I don't know why it was required, but I'll explain you why they dealt with it. They say section 48 of GVAT cannot override section 53 of IBC. Because IBC also tells you that in what manner the distribution is to be made, as Mr. Manoj Anand also mentioned, this is a distribution waterfall. So they said, look, in the waterfall mechanism, you are government dues, your government dues are in clause number E, so you will be paid at that 5th level and not at the 2nd level. So therefore, probably the things came, though the company was not in liquidation. Why section 53 was discussed, I'll just explain you in a little while. Now, what is the ratio of the Supreme Court judgment? Let's try to understand that. And well, we will also discuss whether we need to follow that or we need not to follow that. Because there are certain ifs and buts which are there, some clarity is required. And that is the purpose of this seminar today. Number one, this is a sweeping statement which the Honorable Supreme Court makes. Timelines in IBC are directory in nature, and not only one place, they have mentioned at 3 places, para 23, para 39, and para 40. Now, I am really surprised, and yesterday also we were discussing with Mr. Madan also, and we were confused insofar as timelines and regulations are concerned, and insofar as a timeline in regulation 12 is concerned, which was before this Honorable Court. Because they were talking about whether the claim is belated or not, can be treated as belated or not if filed after 90 days. So it was only a specific issue, whether the timelines mentioned in regulation 12 are directory or mandatory. But they went so much ahead and they said timelines in IBC are directory, which means each and every timeline in IBC code also becomes directory by virtue of this sweeping statement. I don't know what is going to be the impact of this? I'm sure that it is going to have a huge impact. Some people may take advantage of this fact. So this is one of the statements which is a very, very sweeping statement. But according to me, this statement, if read in whole of the entire judgment, it was made in the context of Regulation 12 only, but somehow or the other, this language has appeared. So this is one thing. Number two, they are also held that sales tax department was not required to file the claim under Regulation 12(1). Now, why have they reached this conclusion? Let me explain. And today, many people are asking me, oh, whether now every statutory due or state government or local authority is supposed to file a claim or not. And if they don't file a claim, even then, whether RPs are supposed to consider their claims. Well, the answer lies in the judgment itself. Let us understand this in this manner. Friends, I will draw your attention to Regulation 12(1) and 12(2), both. These were amended on 3rd July 2018. Prior to amendment, friends, if we look at the language which is used, the language which was used in Regulation 12(1) was, now of course it was later on amended. It read as that a creditor shall submit proof of claim. Please understand these words, proof of claim. Later on 3/7/2018, this proof of claim, these three words were replaced with another phrase, claim with proof. Please understand, this makes a huge difference in the language. Proof of claim replaced with claim with proof. So the Supreme Court, on the basis of the drafting error in Regulation 12(1), now has pounced upon IBBI and said that, look, earlier you only wanted proof to be submitted. Claim was not required to be submitted. They said claim should have been considered by the RP as per the books of account. And if there was any doubt, he should have wrote to the sales tax department to ask for the proof, which was never asked for. So on that basis, on the portion of the unamended, because this claim or this CIRP was following the unamended regulation. But of course, after 2018, the regulations have been amended, so we don't have to worry for that about now. Because today the situation is that the creditors have to file claim with proof. So even statutory authorities will also have to file a claim. So we cannot really rely upon this judgment to interpret for all times to come that no statutory authority is required to file a claim. I'm sorry, that is not the idea. That is not the intention. It was interpreted only in terms of unamended Regulation 12(1), because they said only proof of claim was required to file. So therefore, they have dealt with in para 22, 24, 25, and 26. So I hope I'm clear on this particular aspect. Let's go to the other issues. RP failed to include the claim amount as per the books of accounts in information memorandum. Now they said, since the claim was not required to be filed, he should have taken it as per the books of account. He should have mentioned in the information memorandum what is there in the books of account. Now, another very logical, question was raised or issue was raised by Mr. Madan yesterday also, saying that, look, as per the books of account, if I have accounted for only 10 crores and their assessment, which comes later on, and assessment is of 47 crores or 50 crores, then whether I should include in the information memorandum 10 crores or 50 crores. Well, that is also because here the emphasis which has been laid by the Supreme Court is the books of account. Unfortunately, they have all talked about books of account. So, well, friends, I can only say this thing because as a future guidance, in any case, because there have been other judgments of NCLAT also in respect of home buyers, that those home buyers who do not file a claim, but they were allotted, now their amount should also be mentioned in the information memorandum. I think we have seen those judgments. KV developer judgment is there. So what I suggest is that whatever claims you receive, obviously you will have to mention in information memorandum, no quarrel on that. But those claims not received, but appearing in the books of account, or allottees whose names are, who have not filed the claim, I think it is a bounden duty of the RP to mention that fact in the information memorandum. And I think most of us are doing that also, because we will not leave anything to chance. We will we'll give every information to the prospective resolution applicant so that they can file up. Tomorrow, they should not allege us that we misled them, we hid some information from them. So my suggestion is to overcome all these issues, whatever the amounts, whether you have a demand notice from the sales tax department or any other department, please mention that. Everything under the earth, which is in your possession, which is in your knowledge, must be mentioned in the information memorandum so that tomorrow no one can say that you hid that information from them. So this is the learning which we get from here. But anyway, we need not be worried about this particular thing. Now, the next point. Sales tax department is a secured creditor in view of section 3, subsection 30 and 331 of IBC. I'll just leave it for a little while. I'll deal with that because I want to show section 48 also, on the basis of which, and or section 330 and 331 of IBC, on the basis of which they have said they are a secured creditor. I'm just flagging it for the moment. I'll deal with it. Then they also
sir,
say,
for 1 minute, can I stop you? At least, sir, one emergency is there. At least, sir, we were not aware of it, that we were having a plan of 100 people only, and we, हमारे सारे के सारे वो उसके अंदर पूरा हो गया है. I'm receiving a lot of information from the calls of the people. कि हम लोग add नहीं कर पा रहे. तो we do apology to that since we have crossed the limit. The next time we shall take care for that and try to accommodate more people. I'm really sorry, sir. I just interrupted you. Please carry on.
no, not at all. Maybe you can beam it live on a YouTube, or if you can.
We are live on YouTube. Yes, sir. We are live on YouTube.
Correct.
You can go to the YouTube there.
Yeah. So on the group, you can mention that people can go on that link. So, okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can go to the YouTube live there.
Okay. So section 53 of IBC does not override 48 of the GVAT Act. So I don't know why this issue came about, but we will deal with this when we talk about secured creditor, section 48, section 53. We will deal with this. I'm just flagging these two issues. Adjudicating authority was required to examine compliance of section 32. Emphasis was laid down on the word satisfied, which is appearing in section 31(1). Well, friends, there is no quarrel on this. At the end of the day, in many judgments, it has been mentioned, starting from K. Shashidhar and maybe many other judgments, that at the end of the day, adjudicating authority has to make sure that the mandatory compliances given under section 32 are, they have to examine it and they are complied with. I think this is not something which is new. I think we are all aware. But what they have done is they have laid emphasis on the word satisfied, and also they have laid on the word may and shall, which is appearing in 31(1) and 31(2). I think that's one of the important things which I'll deal with that. The judgment also says no plan can be accepted if it fails to comply section 32B. And in this case, what the judges have said is, since the sales tax department is a secured creditor, they are entitled for a benefit under section 32B as an operational creditor. They must be paid a minimum amount which should not be less than the liquidation value if distributed in accordance with section 53. And because they are secured creditor, they fall under clause number B of section 53(1) and not under clause number E. They are not at level 5, but they are at level 2. So therefore, this plan does not give any amount to the sales tax department. Therefore, it does not comply 32B. Therefore, the plan is bad. So this is the whole logic which has emanated in this judgment. We'll try to deal with that in a little while. Plan not meeting the requirements of section 32 cannot be binding on any government authority or creditor. Resolution plan would not bind a state when there are outstanding statutory dues. Now, these are two sweeping statements. Well, what was the occasion of saying this? One could have said, oh, compliance to 32B is not done because they are secured creditors. You are not paying anything, you see, in accordance with 32B, so therefore the plan is invalid. But to say that the plan would not bind the state government or state authorities when there are outstanding statutory dues, this is a very, very sweeping statement which can be used or misused in future. So we will have to see the repercussions in future. Now, let's deal with the other aspects. Shall appears in 31.1 and may has been used in 31.2. If my friends will look at 31.1, it says that if the compliance to 32 are done, then the adjudicating authority shall approve the plan. 31.2 gives them a discretion that if the compliance is not done, then they may reject the plan, which means that if the compliance is not done, they can still approve it. So the word may is there. So here the judge has said may means discretion, but this discretion cannot be arbitrary. So this has to be looked into from 31.1 itself. So may can also be read as shall at times. So that is what the judge has referred to about shall and may. Anyhow, this is not very important for us. Of course, this is for the adjudicating authorities to take care of this thing. Now, this is something which is a very, very sweeping statements from para 52 onwards, and these are going to cause huge repercussions. If the resolution plan ignores the statutory demands payable to any state government or a legal authority, friends, underline the word legal authority. Now they were talking about state government, and they have actually expanded it to even legal authorities, which will now include Noida authorities, Greater Noida authorities, and everyone. So I think everyone is going to make use of this. Altogether, that means they are being paid zero amount. Then the AA is bound to reject the plan. Now, this sentence is completely confusing. Was not required. Number one, they say if the plan ignores the demands altogether, then A is bound to reject. But supposing I don't, ignore your demand, but I'll say I'll pay you 1 rupee, I'll pay you 100 rupees, or I'll pay you 1% or 2%. I'm not ignoring it altogether. Then is A now bound to reject the plan or not? So I don't know why these kind of words altogether was required to be used. If they would have said that, look, you have ignored the statutory dues, therefore the plan is bad in law. So, but anyhow, these kind of words definitely cause a lot of confusion, but this is very, very sweeping statement. Now, let us look at, and particularly, I will also read para 52 in the light of the judgment. The judgment, again, I'm repeating. It says, sales tax authorities are secured creditors. Being a secured creditor and being a secured operational creditor, they were entitled to a minimum payment under section 32B, which is not less than the liquidation value if distributed in accordance with section 53. And they being a secured creditor falling under 53(1)B subclause 2, they were entitled to some amount on a perimeteria basis, on a proportional basis than the secured financial creditors also and the workmen also. So therefore, nothing has been provided. So therefore, the plan is bad. So I will read this in that context because the text and context must match. But I'm afraid that independently, some people are going to use this paragraph for their favor also. So that's the worry. Now let's look at para 53. This is again a very, very interesting para. And I read it 5 times just to understand the meaning of it. I lost its meaning actually by reading once or twice. Let's read it together. Well, I have produced it fully. If the company is unable to pay its debts, which includes statutory dues, and there is no plan which contemplates dissipation of those debts in a phased manner, uniform proportional reduction, the company would necessarily have to be liquidated and its assets sold and distributed under section 53. Wow. I mean, to understand 3 things, first of all, contemplates dissipation of those debts. That's an interesting phrase which the judges have used. And secondly, they say in a phased manner. And probably then in the commas, they are using the word uniform proportional reduction. Proportional reduction. So let me explain the meaning of this. Dissipation means dilution, reduction. So what the judge is trying to say is that, look, if you have a plan, in the plan, if you are not making payments to the debts in a phased manner, and phased manner will be uniform proportional reduction, which means the confusion which we all have how the money in the resolution plan will be distributed. Now the judge says it has to be uniform proportional reduction. That means if I owe, like sales tax department owes 50 crores, financial creditors also owe 50 crores, and the amount available is say 80 crores, assuming there are no workmen, then 40 crores should be paid to the tax department and 40 crores should be paid to the financial creditor. It is known as uniform proportional reduction, dissipation of those debts in a phased manner. This is what the judges want. They want equality. This is what the meaning of this particular paragraph is. So if you say State Bank of India will receive, say, 24% of its dues, Canara Bank will receive only 10%, because we always believe that distribution is the prerogative of the commercial wisdom of the COC. And they were distributing in a random manner. In many cases, we have seen for financial creditors who are related parties, they were paying 0. Financial creditors, those who are secured and have a first charge, they were probably being paid more than the second charge people. So I think this proportion, because we had an understanding, number one, resolution applicant has the prerogative to decide how to distribute. Then it came about, no, it is the prerogative of the COC in its commercial wisdom, they can decide. And I think most of the plans were being accepted on that basis also. But now the Supreme Court says that there has to be a uniform dissipation, a uniform proportional reduction in case there are statutory dues. So this is, and if that is not done, look at the serious repercussions. They say not only the plan should be rejected, but the company have to be necessarily liquidated. Because now then the assets will be distributed in accordance 53, and then the secured operational creditor, which is government dues, will also get the amount in a proportional manner. So this is the logic with which they have proceeded with. But this statement again, I think can be used and can also be misused. Now look at the third sweeping statement, which is also going to affect, and this actually is going to affect a lot of bankers. The COC, which consists of institutional financial creditors and other financial creditors, I think I've removed those words, but I've just kept the word financial creditors, cannot secure their own dues at the cost of the statutory dues owed to any government or government authority, or for that matter, any other dues. Now look at the sweeping statement. Here, the court was dealing with sales tax dues, which they characterized as secured operational creditor, secured creditor. So they should have restricted only to the government dues which are secured. But here the comparison they are making is that, look, you cannot ignore completely these government dues or the government dues of the government authority and can give a preference to the financial creditors alone. So you can't keep the bulk of the money for them and pay nothing to the government dues. But while dealing with that, look at the last sentence, last words, any other dues. For that matter, any other dues. Now, any other dues will also include operational creditors. So now, do they want that operational creditors should also be paid in a proportionate manner? Supposing you are paying 7 or say 20% of the total debts, total claims to the financial creditors. So they want 20% also to be paid to the operational creditors. Well, I'm surprised to look at this language. The context was a little different, but the text is absolutely different. So the content and intent does not match it. I'm sorry to say this, but at the end of the day, I'm also afraid that this will be used and misused by the operational creditors also in future to say that, look, you are not, you don't have the full authority. You are securing your amount at the cost of us. So this is a very, very strong statement, a sweeping statement which has been made. Security interest could be created by operation of law. That is why they have treated these government dues as under particularly not government dues. I'll not repeat that. I'll say under the GVAT Act Section 48, they have treated sales tax dues as the security interest, which is created by operation of law. So this is in para 57. Now let us come down to the brass tacks. Let's read Section 48 of GVAT, which has been relied upon. What does it say? It says tax to be first charged on property. And it also reads with a non-obstant clause. It says, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law for the time being in force, any amount payable by dealer or any other person on account of tax, interest, and penalty. So all the three things are covered, for which he is liable to pay tax to the government shall be a first charge on the property of such dealer, or as the case may be, such person. So it becomes a first charge. Now here comes section 3, subsection 30 of our IBC, read with 31, clause number 31. I think my friends are aware 330 deals with the word secured creditor. It defines secured creditor. Secured creditor means a creditor in favor of whom a security interest is created. Now we'll have to go to the security interest that is defined in clause number 31. Security interest, which is a very long definition, it says security interest means any right, title, interest, or claim to the property created in favor of or provided for a secured creditor by way of a transaction which secures payment or performance an obligation and includes, now that's very important, mortgage charge. Now the word charge, the moment the word charge is used, they say section 48 also says it talks about the charge, and once it says the charge, so therefore this should be taken as the secured creditor. Well, to that extent, I will not dispute this judgment, because the judges have very rightly interpreted. They say, look, a person can become a secured creditor by entering into a contract or by operation of law. So here the charge has been created on account of law. So therefore, they become secured creditor. But obviously their category will not get changed. They will still remain operational creditor. There is no quarrel on that. Now let us see one more thing. And then they say section 53 cannot override 48. And the Supreme Court says, and again I agree with them. They say section 48 of GVAT tax only deals with whether there will be a first charge or not. That's all. Whether sales tax department is a secured creditor or not. Section 53 deals with the manner of distribution. So they say, where is the inconsistency between both these sections? Both of them operate in different field altogether. And if they operate in different field, there can't be any overriding of one section over the other. And our IBC section 238 also says very carefully, very easily, it says that the IBC will override provided there is any inconsistency. So if there is no inconsistency, there is no question of our section in an IBC overriding any other section. So to that extent, Supreme Court is right. I agree with that. I will not find any mistake in that judgment. Now let's look at 53. 53 also starts with non-obstant clause. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any law enacted by Parliament or any state legislature for the time being in force, the proceeds from the sale of liquidation assets shall be distributed in the following order of priority. So it talks about order of priority. Now, order of priority is not talked about in section 48. So therefore, friends, there is no clash. Let's be very clear on this. Okay. It is only saying that sales tax department is a secured creditor because they have the first charge. Now, if they are the first charge, under which slab they are coming, whether they are coming under clause number B or clause number E, that's a separate issue. We'll talk about that. Now, before I deal with this particular subject, let's look at this. I am now showing on your screen section 82, which I've taken from GST Act, which is the current act, because GVAT Act is no longer applicable, VAT Act is not applicable. But let's see the GST. GST also has a similar thing. Tax to be a first charge on property, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, contained in any law for the time being in force, save as otherwise provided in IBC, any amount payable by taxable person or any other person on account of tax, interest, or penalty which is liable to pay to the government shall be first charge on the property of such taxable person. So similar words, similar language is there in GST. So now the problem which we can foresee is that even GST department, for any dues, they will be considered or treated as a secured creditor, because this becomes a law of land. But surprisingly, if you look at the language, I'll go back to section 48 for a moment. Now, if we look at 48, it is a pure and simple language. It does not say save as otherwise provided in IBC. Let me go to section 82 and I've put that in bold, save as otherwise provided in IBC. Now, obviously, we can understand these words could not have been there in GWAT Act because that time IBC was not there. So there was no question of saving the provisions of the IBC. But it says that, look, I will be a first charge subject to what the IBC says. If IBC says, no, I will not be a first charge holder or a secured creditor, I will not be. If IBC says other things also save as otherwise provided, then I will not follow that. So whether can we use this sentence, save as otherwise provided, A, to treat, say, GST department not as a secured creditor? That's first question which comes to our mind. Number two, assuming they are still treated as a secured creditor under GST Act, whether, because now this section says I am subservient, so whether it is subservient to section 53 also by saying that, look, even if I am secured creditor, but you will pay me under clause number E of section 53. That means where the word government dues are written, because the word which are written in government dues in section 53 1E, it does not distinguish between secured or unsecured creditor. So when we say government dues, secured and unsecured both will be covered there. But there is some confusion which is coming. What confusion is there? Let me explain that, so that before we deal with any other thing, let us deal with this. Let's try to understand this. I hope everyone understands by now why section 53 was dealt with, because of section 32B, reference in 32B. Now, if we go to section 53, my dear friends, 53 1B, clause number 2. And let me read that 53 1B first. The following debts which shall rank equally between and among the following. First, it says, talks about workman dues for the period of 24 months, pending as on the date of preceding the liquidation commencement date. And B, which is very important, friends, please read along with me. Debts owed to a secured creditor.
Sir, screen is not changed. It is
No,
first
I have
slide
not
only.
changed. I have not changed
Okay.
the screen. I'm not showing that. Okay, I'm just
Okay,
reading
fine,
it from the.
Fine.
Debts owed to a secured creditor. Now the word is secured creditor. Now here the confusion has started, because when you use the word secured creditor, you are not saying secured financial creditor. So therefore, even an operational creditor can be secured. So here the Supreme Court treats under GWAT Act the sales tax authorities as secured creditor by operation of law, no quarrel. So now they say they are entitled to the early payment under clause number B because they are also secured creditors. Now your law does not say secured financial creditor. And in fact, secured creditor word has been used 2 times in 53B2. They do not use the word secured financial creditor. And then let us look at clause number C. It talks about workman dues and unpaid dues of employees. Fourth, which is very important, friends, D, financial debts due to unsecured creditors. Now here, unsecured creditors have been distinguished into 2 parts. Those who are financial and those who are not. But in case of secured creditors, no distinction has been made under section 53. So here comes the solution, because people do ask me for the solution also. And in fact, I must share with you that IBBI is already looking into this aspect. IBBI is aware that this judgment has caused some confusion and will probably overturn the whole concept of IBC. So therefore, they're already working and they are thinking that how to bring an amendment. So that's one part of it. So my suggestion to them is that, look, in clause number B2, you can add the word secured financial creditor. So instead of saying secured creditor, we can use the word secured financial creditor. Now, here comes a small dichotomy. So if we rephrase it as secured financial creditor, which is the intent, actually that was the intent, probably due to some drafting, that word has not come out here. But be that as it may, if we presume that this is there, then the government dues, whether secured or unsecured, will come under clause number E. That is the 5th level. But this causes a small dichotomy. If you look at, I will show you that dichotomy, the confusion. What is the confusion? Clause number D gives a preference to unsecured financial creditors. So do you think that unsecured financial creditors should also be paid before the secured operational creditors? Now this causes a confusion. So if the government really wants that, and I'm sure that that was the intention. Why? Now we will go to the preamble. The preamble says that alteration in the order of priority of the government dues. They are not use the word secured or unsecured. So they say government dues, whatever the category or the nature is, they should be paid later than the secured creditors and unsecured financial creditors also. Because let that finance companies or the people who have financed, they should get earlier than the crown debts. So the thinking is changed. So according to me, even secured or unsecured, they were to be paid at level number 5. So I believe no clarification is required for that. But yes, we need to change those words which are there that look a secured financial creditors should be there. But there is one more aspect. It's not that easy. Government dues, of course, there is an alteration in priority. And that is said in the preamble. But it presumes, friends, that there are no secured financial creditors. There is only unsecured financial creditor which has given, say, 2 crore loan to the company. And then there is an operational creditor, not the government dues, who is secured. Now, if we follow 53(1), it looks very dichotomically now that now an unsecured financial creditor will be paid even over and above the secured operational creditor. And then what will happen, supposing if it does not relinquishes his charge? So therefore, it will cause confusion. So therefore, what all I'm saying is that there has to be another clarification which needs to be noted down, or the government can add another, category now. What they can do is like this, that number 1, clause number B, secured financial creditors. Clause number C will stay as it is. Clause number D, before clause number D, probably they can add clause number CA now, saying that secured operational creditors excluding government dues. If they don't want government secured creditors to be paid here, if they want under clause number E, but if they want that they should be paid above, then in clause CA, they can simply say secured operational creditors. Because according to me, that process must be followed. The person who is secured, he must be paid before the unsecured. I think that is very rational. That is very, very logical to say that. So I think these are the few suggestions which we can give on the amendment of section 53. But at the end of the day, friends, because of this judgment, amendment in section 53(1) is required. It cannot happen with any clarification or explanation. I think the act has to be amended in this particular manner. So this is one of the important aspects which are there. Now let us look at, I'll just conclude now. And on the ratios which I showed you earlier, now we will try to conclude. Timelines in IBCR directory, I mentioned earlier, and I'm saying it is a sweeping statement, is going to cause confusion. Sales tax department was not required to file claim. Now this statement of the Supreme Court is not to be followed by us, because on the facts of the case, interpretation was based on unamended regulations. So after that, regulations have been amended. So today we will take a stand that yes, sales statutory authorities will have to file a claim with proof. They cannot get away by using this judgment as of today. So it was pre-2018, but not today. It cannot happen. So I hope I'm clear on this. Then RPs, whether they should include the claim amount as per the books of account, whether they should mention in IM or not. Well, I have already mentioned that all RPs should take care to state the amount of the creditors as per the books of accounts in the information memorandum. Then the next one is whether sales tax department is a secured creditor. It depends upon the law, my dear friends. So now all RPs are supposed to check the relevant law. Supposing a statutory claim has come, say income tax department. So please go to the Income Tax Act and see whether it creates a first charge in their favor or not. If GST department files it, whether it creates first charge or not. Similarly, any other state government or central government or any local government authority files, go to their particular act. Well, one may say it has increased our job. Yes, to some extent, but not too much. How many statutory claims you receive? 1, 2, 3, 4, or maximum 5. So do that. I don't think it is difficult. So please check the relevant laws, local laws or something, to see whether it creates first charge in their favor or not. 53 of IBC does not override 48. I think I agree with that. So no action is required. A was required to examine compliance. Well, this does not call for any action on the part of the RP. This is adjudicating authorities are required to follow it. No plan can be accepted if it fails to comply with 32. Well, RPs in any case will have to ensure that compliance of 32 is done, including 32B. Then plan not meeting the requirements of 32 cannot be binding on any government authority or any creditor. Now, this will have some repercussions, because they say for that matter, any creditor, well, this is a dangerous statement. Resolution plan would not bind the state when there are outstanding dues, statutory dues. It has serious repercussions. And I think some people are going to use it in their own favor. Shall and may, of course, we don't have to be bothered about it. Adjudicating authorities have to see this. Now, if this is a very, again, a very, very sweeping statement, it is going to have repercussions, serious repercussions. That altogether, if the plan ignores the statutory demands, then adjudicating authority is bound to reject. Now, this is again a very, very sweeping statement. That was not the intent of the law. And then, of course, the last statement which they have said, that contemplate dissipation of those debts in a phased manner. Now, their view is coming from that they are secured creditors, so therefore they have equal right, or proportionate right. But if we change that 53(1)(b) to secured financial creditor, but then this statement will also go away. So that will not be considered. But otherwise, it's going to have a serious repercussions. And then now this is something which again the government has to look into this. That who has got right to decide the distribution of the amount proposed in the resolution plan. This is not clear in the law. I would suggest that this kind of some section is changed, where while approving the resolution plan, committee of creditors is authorized to decide the distribution, which must be fair and transparent. Of course, they can write that. So this is something which must be required to be built in. Otherwise, the authorities of the COCs can be challenged like this. So it is also going to have a serious repercussions, but to some extent, they have given a warning to the COC also that please be fair. If you're not going to be fair, we're going to reject the plan. So I think that's a warning to the bankers that don't get the major chunk to yourself and do not give anything to the operational creditors or other creditors. Security interest would be created by operation of law. Well, this is a statement of law which we need to follow, and I agree with this. And of course, I think section 82 have already shown that. So this is all about this judgment, friends. I think I hope things are clear. I will now leave it to the organizers. So if anyone has a question, and we can also have opinion of others also, including Mr. Madan, who is also there. So over to you, Navneet or Manoj.
Manoj, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like, sir, आपकी discussion में एक point because since we are working more as RP and like that. You said that let's my question is, let's give an example. हमारी किताबों के अंदर हमने एक सेल टैक्स की लायबिलिटी दिखाई 50 करोड़ की. हमारी असेसमेंट रही, उन्होंने 40 करोड़ पे हमारे अंदर एडिशन कर दी और साथ में ये कहा जी ये इंटरेस्ट जो है एक्टिंग इंटरेस्ट इस पर लगता रहेगा. और उस 40 करोड़ को हमने शो करा अपनी किताबों में एज ए कंटीजेंट लायबिलिटी. अब हो गया 90 करोड़ प्लस एक्रूड इंटरेस्ट देयर. अब सेल टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट ने हमारे पास वी हैव टू सिचुएशन. एक ये कि इन्होंने हमारे पास कोई क्लेम फाइल नहीं करा, तो इट्स क्वाइट अंडरस्टैंडेबल कि हम 50 करोड़ रुपए का उनका क्लेम एडमिट करेंगे एज पर इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर जजमेंट. अब रही बात जो डिस्प्यूटेड डिमांड है, ये डिस्प्यूटेड डिमांड है, it can crystallize in the days to come also, it may not crystallize in the days to come also. As far as our accounting standards are concerned, they say any notes forms part of the main account. So in that case, as an IP, what should we do? Should we, admit what amount of claim we admit? 50 crore, I agree. And what about the balance 40?
Okay. See, first thing we need to understand that if the claim of the sales tax department is coming as say 50 crores in the books of account, I will only admit if they file the claim. Please understand this. If the claim is not filed, obviously there's no question of admission, right?
Yes.
That is one. Because in the list of admission, only those people who have filed the claim. Now, having said that, the 50 crores which is appearing in the books of account, which this judgment also says that, look, it is the duty of the RP to disclose that in an information memorandum. So you will be disclosing it by saying that, look, these are the people who have not filed the claim, but these are appearing as creditors in the books of account to this extent. So you will clarify that. And you will also clarify, supposing there is an additional assessment which has come and which has given you additional liability of 40 crores, you will also disclose that in information memorandum. The reason is very simple, that look, today I am an RA. Now I probably may be asking for some reliefs, concessions and waivers. So I must be aware of what your books of accounts say and what the disputed demands also say that. Because I can write in my plan that, look, the amounts which are with the people who have not filed the claim, I will not pay anything and they will be treated as extinguished. So generally, most of the plans say like that. So all I'm saying is the duty of the RP is to put everything on that domain of information memorandum, so that tomorrow nobody can put a blame on the shoulders of the RP that, look, you did not disclose this. That is what you have to do. There is no question of admission or rejection unless the claim is filed. That's what I want to clarify.
Sir, agar sales tax department ne 90 crore ka claim file kara, in that case?
Correct. Now, if they have filed 90 crores and 40 crores is already disputed, but you are not disputing 50 crores because you have not filed an appeal against that. So you will admit 50 crores. For 40 crores, you will put a note that it is a contingent liability. I'm not admitting it, but I'm disclosing in the information memorandum. It is subject to the outcome of the appeal or wherever it is pending. So I think that's the way we have been doing it. In JP's case also, you know that
we have been
admitted at 1 rupee only. So that's the way you will do it. Okay.
Yeah, Mamta ji, would you like to ask something? Then we move on to Mr. Madan sir and
Not
see
really.
he's
No, that's pretty clear. We've understood. I was keen to understand about the crown debts because that is what we have understood by not only the BLRC but of course the objective of the law. So let's go ahead with Madanji and then we'll do it together.
Madan sir, we request you to add more to it. Please deliberate on what Makija sir has said and what talk it till date.
Thank you, Manoj ji, Navneet ji, Makija saab, all other participants, my dear friend Mamta. Whatever we discussed yesterday during more than 1.5 hours, I think Makija saab has covered each and everything out of that today. Hats off to him. And yesterday I commented to him, I gave a comment to him, rather my appreciation for him, that his analytical skills and use some other word also, interpretation skills are par excellence. No doubt about that. Before I come to this judgment, maybe 2-3 points from my side. Manoj, on your initial comments, first of all, with respect to you said that whatever Supreme Court decides and you have the changes in the Income Tax Act, or the rather Income Tax Act or vice versa may be there. But here my observation is whatever Supreme Court decides, that becomes part of the law later on by way of amendments. Our MCA does not overrule Supreme Court findings. So far, this is what my observation is. Number two is, you said that is 14 days period, maybe if not possible, increase to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Here, my view is very clear that principles of natural justice have to be followed. They cannot be followed. You cannot have a time-bound provisions for listing of these applications. The courts are very clear that other parties have to be given opportunity of being heard. No doubt these are summary proceedings. Summary proceeding, you can't wait for indefinite period of time. But looking at the infrastructure on the part of the courts, also NCLT and NCLAT, so far they are trying to do their best. This is what I will say. Number three, you said that anybody and everybody, a personal guarantor to corporate debtor, can go to Supreme Court and get a stay. Sorry, that is not the situation. For your consumption, let me tell you that Mr. Anil Ambani and singles of Bhushan have not got any stay from Supreme Court. Everybody is not getting a stay. And for your information, now all the applications, these stay petitions, have been listed before Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and all these matters are listed on 13th of September, that is Tuesday, as first item in the cause list. Maybe on that very day, and there is a pressure from the government, a request from the government that the stay should be vacated immediately. On Tuesday, we may have something from Supreme Court. Now, coming to this judgment, as I said, Makhija Sahab has said everything. Couple of points from my side, that SG and ASG, both of them were there in this case. And surprisingly, both of them have supported GVAT and not IBC. According to me, they should have supported IBC rather than supporting GVAT. If you read the preamble of the code is very clear. It talks about resolution, restructuring. It does not use the word liquidation at all. While as per this judgment, all the companies will go into liquidation only. That is not spirit of the code at all. If we read para 53 and 54 of this judgment, 53 says if a company is unable to pay its debts, which should include statutory dues to the government and or other authorities, and there is no plan which contemplates dissipation of those debts in a phased manner, uniform proportional reduction, the company would necessarily have to be liquidated. I'm again repeating, this is against the preamble of the code. Then para 54. In our considered view, the committee of creditors, which might include financial institutions and other financial creditors, cannot secure their own dues at the cost of statutory dues owed to the government or government authority for that matter, any other dues. I think Supreme Court has tried to rewrite the law. The preamble of the code, the provisions of the code, the BLRC, everybody is in favor of the secured financial creditors. And if we interpret the law like this, then certainly the IBC has to be scrapped down. The same Supreme Court has upheld the provisions of IBC in Pioneer Urban. Not in Pioneer Urban, in Swiss Ribbons case. Now, this judgment, according to me, is the spirit of the Swiss Ribbons. Not desired. Thirdly,
मदान साहब अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लीजिए मैंने सबको
before this judgment causes further harm, according to me, this judgment has to be reviewed immediately. A review petition should lie, and till that time, the operation of this judgment should be stayed, in my humble submission. I have one different view on this, though that may not be tenable. Because in this case, a charge, the properties of this corporate debtor, there was a lien by this GVAT department. So are we saying whether this judgment is trying to say, I'm just trying to read between the lines, so that's not the spirit, trying to read between the lines, whether just because of that lien, the GVAT has been treated as secured creditor, or all government authorities are secured creditor, whether they're having a lien or not. Maybe if you're trying to read between the lines, I may have this interpretation in favor of the corporate debtor, in favor of the CIRP process, in favor of the legislation, that just because the properties were attached or properties, there was a lien by GVAT department, that is why they are only secured creditors. Otherwise, in all other cases, wherever there is no lien, the statutory authorities cannot be called as secured creditors. I'm sure this may not be tenable, but I'm trying to read between the lines, and this is my interpretation. Thank you.
I request Nipun Stigley if he's there, if he has his some views on it.
Yes, sir. I am there, sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you, Manoj ji, and Makhija sir and Madan sir have already given their brilliant views. So, sir, thoda sa I will give you some that Gujarati touch in this GVAT. What happened in this case basically? First of all, sir, the resolution plan, which now has been set aside by the Supreme Court, was already a withdrawal application was filed by the RA in NCLT. It was rejected. Then that matter went to NCLAT. Again, NCLAT said you can't withdraw it, the resolution plan. And therefore, I think they are in the process of going to Supreme Court. So that is one factual part, that RA itself is not wanting to continue with the resolution plan in this particular case. Secondly, as far as from my sources I know, there has been a COC done after this, and they are going for review petition. So that is the second thing with regard to this case. Thirdly, basically now there is no rainbow paper. As per the resolution plan, this company was merged in Kushal Limited. So now the Kushal Limited, which is the listed company, their COC has filed a liquidation application which is pending in NCLT already. So the liquidation application with regard to rainbow paper, now merged with Kushal Limited, is already pending in NCLT Ahmedabad. Now, as far as Gujarat VAT is concerned, what had happened here was, as Madan sir said, there was some logic with regard to creating that lien. Sir, in Gujarati, we call it boja chada diya. In Gujarati language, it's called that land revenue records. हम लोग यहाँ बोलते हैं 7/12 का उतारा. That's 7/12 revenue records. So what happens is, whenever the notice is issued, demand notice is raised, there is no appeal. What they do is they put a boja on the property, and there is a concept of issuing a letter to the mamlatdar here. What normally I think in other states it's called tehsildar or maybe land revenue officer. Here it is called that mamlatdar office through district collector. They put a boja on the property, that is 7/12 utara. Now what happens here is, sir, there is an entry in the land revenue records. Nobody can purchase that particular property until and unless sale tax dues are cleared. That's how here in the state of Gujarat it works. Now, sir, as per section 45(1), they can do it. They can put that boja on the property. But section 45 subsection 2 of GVAT Act says that it cannot be more than 1 year. So I have already argued this particular point in around 4 or 5 matters of mine in NCLT Ahmedabad, where I have taken this plea that encumbrance on the property cannot be more than 1 year, because that is the maximum power under GVAT Act. So probably that attachment issue may not survive if at all it comes to the surface. Secondly, section 48, which they are saying that there is a first charge. I think that 48 after GST, post GST, as Makhija sir has also said, and as we are aware, the space of the Sales Tax Act is gone away. Because of the constitutional amendment, GST has come into place, and because it is being formulated by the parliament and central law takes the space over the state, I don't think there will be any confusion with regard to GST dues. The logic of this judgment at the best can be applied to GVAT dues only. Now, another viewpoint, which probably Madan Sahab was saying, reading between the lines, and which is my view also, and because of this particular judgment, I tell you, yesterday when I was appearing in NCLT Ahmedabad, around 3 matters of mine, court has said that you please rearrange it according to the rainbow papers. Now, absolutely everybody will wait. We will not rush for approval of plans now, because bankers are saying it is better to take into liquidation. Why so? Because under section 26E of the Sarfazi Act, which was amended when IBC was introduced, it says that secured creditor, that's a security interest holder, in our case it is bank, they will have a right over the central government or state government dues. And that there have been many judgments, Bombay High Court, Gujarat High Court, Supreme Court, that 26E, it will go to the bankers. So practically speaking, if suppose this judgment is continued, there is no stay or there is maybe no review successfully done, what will happen is all bankers will now exercise 52 and take the benefit of 26E under Sarfazi and take the asset under liquidation. So probably my view is that then 26E should also come into play. So when I was trying to interpret this particular point, I thought that we should see the resolution plan regulation. So if we see the regulation 38, so Makhija sir rightly read section 53, which talks about secured creditor. But if we now go to the regulation, I suppose 38, which says how you have to pay to the operational creditors in priority to secured financial creditor. There they have used the word secure financial creditor. And they say pay in priority to operational creditor. Again, this is going to be a very controversial thing, that whether the secured creditor vis-a-vis section, if I interpret and I go back to section 52, interpret presumed liquidation, that benefit will go to bankers only and will never go to sales tax department, even if they are secured creditor. So that is again another viewpoint which I just want to share with you all, which I had argued a little bit yesterday. And courts were of the view, then let us wait, Mr. Singhvi, why do we read rainbow papers and approve any plan? Let us see what interpretation flows out from Supreme Court, maybe in a review petition. Because interestingly, rainbow paper was also listed yesterday only for liquidation. Though I am not appearing in that matter, but subsequent to that, another matter I was appearing, we argued this point. So probably these two arguments might be advanced in case resolution plan is getting disturbed with respect to this particular GVET order. Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure Nipunji, they are going to disturb, because even yesterday I was discussing this order of judgment was passed on 6th, and the 7th itself, NCLT president asked one of the senior counsels who was for RA and standing against the pollution control department, but the pollution control department is not giving permission to RA because of the earlier dues. The president NCLT asked that senior counsel, Mr. So-and-so, please, now you have to consider rainbow. Your case is squarely covered by rainbow. So if that is the scenario, not only the pending resolution plans are going to be affected, even the plans which are under implementation are likely to be affected. And that is very scary situation now.
So, sir, one of my friends, we appeared together in SR Steel. He said that suppose this judgment was at the time of SR Steel, so Gujarat government actually went in that matter also. In that batch petition, it was rejected. Now, suppose if this judgment is made applicable to that, from 42,000 crores, sir, around 10,000 crores will go to Gujarat VAT department. So everything will be disturbed.
And
Okay,
आपकी तो गुजरात हाई कोर्ट ने 30 मार्च 2022 को बोला है that GVAT provisions are being misused to the maximum extent.
Yes.
और आज उसी legislation के favor में judgment आ गया है.
Sir, Gujarat has always been the area of activity. SR Steel, Swiss Ribbon, and now Rainbow. All three.
Okay, a very short comment. See, friends, let me also say one more aspect. See, insofar as lien or encumbrance is concerned, it is different from a charge. Let us understand, because encumbrance only says it's like an attachment. It prohibits the sale of the property. But charge means that you become a secured creditor. So there is a difference between a charge and a lien or an encumbrance. That's one part of it. On the GST, well, right now we have interpreted only first charge, because even in the GST Act also there are many other provisions. And I must share with you that in section 81 of GST Act, it says transfer of property to be void in certain cases. They say that, look, this has created a charge, and if you sell this property without the consent of the government, this transfer of property will also be void. Of course, I would say that, look, this will not take into effect because IBC will definitely override on this particular aspect. But all I'm saying is that even GST also includes that tax to be a first charge on the property. Now, this is something which is going to create a huge confusion, because GST department is now going to become very proactive in this particular aspect. So friends, all of us agree, including Madan Saab and Nipun also, that look, there are a lot of repercussions which are going to come. And they have already started coming on a daily basis on the first day itself. Now, insofar as review is concerned, Nipun has actually rightly informed us that, look, they are planning to file a review. Let's hope they file for review. But let me also share with another thing. Justice Indra Banerjee, who was the author, she is going to retire on 23rd September 2022. So review is not going to happen before her. So it is going to be a different bench. So I think that, because generally the review goes to the same bench, yes. But I think it will be reviewed probably by, it may be referred to a higher bench also. It has to. There is no other alternative, or the government amends the law. So that is, these are the two alternatives which are there. But RA definitely must be very happy in this case because in any case he wanted to withdraw. And now he has got the relief from the Supreme Court itself. So great.
And
So I
there
think
were sir, batch petitions, sir. There were batch petition. I think around 12 or 13 matters from Gujarat only have been there. One of the matters I also appeared that was also tagged in this Mackester matter.
So Manoj, I think we can leave the house open for any questions also. I think let's give the chance to.
Sir, we have scarcity of time and our discussion was itni achhi thi, our discussion was so good that, I used the word earlier that IBC law is evolving and then revolving. Dekun ji ne is particular case ko bhi revolve kar diya with his deliberation at the end of the day. In any case, sir, we thought of taking the 3 judgments as per our wisdom. एक जो पहली वाली जजमेंट थी, the earlier judgment which was of Gurmeet Sodhi's case was there. सर ने उसका आंसर दे दिया, मदान सर ने. In fact, we were not so updated, and there's no need to discuss that thing. We have discussed this rainbow paper mill at a length. Most probably किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे इतनी लेंथ में ये जजमेंट आज की डेट तक इतनी अर्ली डिस्कस नहीं हुई होगी. एंड आई एम really thankful to all the 3 speakers. सर एक रह गया, थोड़ा सा हमारे को और एनलाइटन कर दीजिए. ये विदर्भा इंडस्ट्रीज पावर लिमिटेड की जो एक जजमेंट ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कही थी कि which in nutshell says if series has some difficulty of repayment, in that case SWIFT can't be admitted. This is the broader way of my saying. So please, all 3 or any of the 3, please enlighten us on this particular judgment also, and then we move to the later part.
Okay, Manoj, मेरी request ये है, because Vidarbha is again a long subject, right? All of us can share within in a nutshell 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but that will not satisfy the people. At the end of the day, we must deliberate in detail. The nutshell of Vidarbha is that if an operational creditor files an application, then the NCLT has to admit it if there is a debt and default. But in case of financial creditor, then they can go into the reasons of default. They can go into various reasons, including the financial health of the company, whether the company is MSME or not. In fact, Indore bench recently, in one of their judgments, they have said, very recently after that Vidarbha, they have said, look, we are, keeping in abeyance for 6 months. And we are giving a chance of the settlement because it is an MSME, it is a viable option, it is a solvent company, it is a going concern. So all these issues, all these factors need to be considered by the adjudicating authority. That is what the nutshell of Vidarbha is there.
Sir, let me just say, sir, that judgment Krishidan Seats also went till Supreme Court. And from Supreme Court, it was remanded back to NCLT because Ahmedabad and Indore is the one bench. So I was there in the arguments. So because of Vidarbha, they said that because the company is otherwise doing good, so let us give some time, and they are asking for adjournment of 3 months. Let me give an adjournment of 6 months. So that's how it played.
That's all right. That's okay. But you see, at the end of the day, Vidarbha is playing on everyone's mind. In fact, even in NCLAT also, Agarwal Veneer's judgment, which is there, they have actually dealt with Vidarbha also. They said even operational creditors, that was actually an application filed by operational creditors. They said, no, Vidarbha applies even for operational creditors. You should have used discretion, and they have rightly used discretion and dismissed. So that is also causing a lot of heartburns also to the people who are filing it. So jurisprudence is completely reversed in that case also. But I believe, Manoj, my suggestion is, let's keep it for some other day. Maybe again, it requires, elaborate discussion of almost 1 hour. We are already now 1.5 hours. So maybe, I mean, as you
yes, I think, no, you're right.
Just may I put one question, sir? May I request?
Yes, please
Sure,
carry on.
please.
Sir, because section 521 was discussed in this judgment, because 521 deals with the claims of the operational creditor, who is operational creditor, operational government dues, etc. So that section 48 will also come under section 521 of the IBC code as per that definition. Whether it is not mentioned or discussed in this judgment, sir?
No, sir, there is no quarrel. See, even the Supreme Court also says in one of their sentences that operational creditors can also be secured creditor. So there is no quarrel that these government dues or sales tax authorities are operational creditors. The question before them was whether they're secured or not. I think we always confuse that only financial creditors can be secured. No, that's not the case. You can always mortgage a property to even an operational creditor also. So he can also be a secured creditor. So, but that impression needs to be changed in section 53 now, when we must say secured financial creditor under clause number B, subclause 2. Otherwise, it's going to create a lot of confusion. The confusion is coming from there. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarification.
Yeah, anybody from the deed and deed, because they were able to, Nileji, आप हो या नहीं हो? In any case, because हमारी 100 की लिमिट थी, तो हो सकता है उन्हें बाद में लॉग इन करने की कोशिश करी हो, तो they could not log in. Mamta ji, I hand over to you for the closing remarks, and also
Sure.
Anuradha ji, you can reply for the chats if there some material questions are there, and then Mamta ji, please, have your, after the chat questions are answered, you can give the closing remarks and then we close on, please.
Sure.
Anuradha ji, आप हो कि नहीं?
हाँ जी, I'm there. There is a
Please chat
question
देख
from
लीजिए.
Mr. Singhvi. Can Mr. Singhvi please explain why banks would prefer liquidation? Mr. Singhvi, are you there? Nipun Singhvi ji? I think he is not there. Ashish sir, can you reply?
Yeah. I think he already explained, and I agree with him for that extent, because look, if as a secured creditor, now I am going to share my money with somebody else also with the government dues. So therefore he said that I will not relinquish my right under section 52, and therefore you see I'll not approve the plan first. The companies will go into liquidation under section 52. I'll not relinquish, and I will get the first charge on the property. But here there is a catch. The catch is, as per the GVAT also, they also have a first charge. Now, two people have a first charge, the bankers as well as the sales tax department. Now, if they become secured creditor, even they will also have to relinquish the charge. So even it will also create a lot of confusion. So bankers are not going to be happy with just by sending the company into liquidation, because this issue will crop up again, unless either this judgment is reversed or reviewed, or the law is amended under section 50. That's my view.
And I think till that time, bankers will prefer SARFAESI over IBC.
Bankers will have a low profile now. They will say,
सर हमारी नौकरी का क्या होगा, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? सर अगर SARFAESI को लेना शुरू कर दिया, तो where we IP shall go?
There's one more question. If no reliable books of accounts for the past so many years are there, what about the disclosures in IM?
Well, I think this issue is very clear, Mr. Parameshwaran. If the books of accounts are not available, whatever is available as per the information available with you, right? Sometimes I'll give you an example. I think Mr. Shivnandan Sharma is also here. He's dealing a case of real estate. Now, the promoters did not cooperate because they are in jail. They are absconding. Some of them absconding, some are in judicial custody. Now, he did not get any books of account. And being a real estate case, he was worried that where is the list of allottees? He was not getting the list of allottees also. Now, he got one list of allottees from the financial creditors, because financial creditors, while giving a loan, they also take, like to whom you have allotted. So he got the list from there. And he got other documents also from other sources. So whatever sources you get, I think the information must be disclosed in information. It's not necessarily the books of accounts.
Manoj ji, allow K. Parameshwaran to ask the question.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, one question. Now, the EOA date for EOA can be extended only once. Since if the timeline is discretionary, can I ask for, based on this judgment, can I ask for further extension, sir, until a review decision is obtained?
I think this was answered by Mr. Madan yesterday, and I'll repeat what he said. He said, now, since all the timelines are discretionary or directory, now IBBI issuing notice to the IPs that you did not comply within this particular time. Now we can say these are directory and not mandatory. So therefore, no disciplinary proceeding lies against it. So all we are saying is that this judgment is very, very sweeping judgment. In fact, they should have restricted themselves to only regulation 12. I will read that in context. But to say that all other time limits are directory and not mandatory, I will not presume, because as far as RPs are concerned, we must treat these timelines as direct, as mandatory. That is one which is very important thing. That is why I say that, look, if somebody files a claim after 90 days, now you are bound by the time limit, probably he is not. Then you must tell him that, look, you go to adjudicating authority, get the extension or continuation of delay. I am not going to admit the claim after 90 days because it is mandatory for me. This is what I will presume. So all timelines, please treat them, whatever is mentioned, as mandatory, because I'll also show you one more judgment of NCLAT. I don't remember the case name now. It came recently. It says that all the regulations which are mentioned are mandatory in nature. In fact, it says something else. So I would treat as an RP all time limits to be mandatory. I hope I'm clear on this. Mr. Madan, you would like to say something?
Because people are little scared to proceed with this, and they are waiting for the review or result. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Great, sir.
Madanji.
Thank you.
Madanji.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sir. The same question. I think Khijaji asked, referred the matter to you, please.
Mr. Makhija responded very clearly, and
Yes.
because in many Shokas notices I've seen that even minutes which have been circulated after 72 hours or 96 hours, IBBI issued Shokas notice that has been treated as a non-compliance, and whatever the replies have been given while during the inspection or investigation, those replies have not been accepted by IBBI. But now, as far as this judgment is concerned, I think it has come as a savior for IPs as far as timelines are concerned. Rest of the things I'm not in favor of for this.
Thank you, sir.
Makhija sir. Sir, Makhija sir. Sir, what is your advice to RP, sir? You want us to wait for some time to take new assignments?
Wait for some time for?
For taking any new assignments, sir, till this aid is cleared.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Can you?
Saying that should we wait for new assignment till this, the clarity on the judgment is coming up with there? No, sir. No. Only people.
No, I don't think.
Sir, please
I don't think. Let's not be worried about.
I'll say be slow on the resolution plans only for the time being. That's all.
That's all.
Very soon. I'm very sure about that. I'm very confident.
Sir, assignment to our blood and life, sir. How can we say that we're not going to accept it? All we are saying is that on the resolution plans approval, hang on for some time, because if you push it too much, then the judges will say rainbow paper applies, I'm rejecting your plan. So that's the only thing which we are saying.
Exactly.
Sir, hello.
Sir, we have a lot of limitation of time. Please allow us. Anuradha, please carry on for another. Ajayji, we shall share with you otherwise also.
I think we can.
Should I carry on with the question? Sorry, sir.
Please, speed it up and club the questions.
Just a second. Pratimji, I think, wants to ask a question. Let us allow him. Yeah, Pratim, yes, go ahead.
Pratimji, please carry on.
Thanks for allowing this thing. Just to be very specific, suppose there are hearings coming on for approval of resolution plan in coming couple of weeks. So what would be the exact strategy? Because suppose we have already given the convenience note and everything, and the statutory dues have not been dealt exactly in line with the rainbow decision. So should we proactively say that please adjourn it or something? How to practically handle the slowness of the resolution plan approval petition?
Okay. Sir, आप कुछ करो ना करो, judicating authority ही आपको allow नहीं करेगी उस application को till this thing is finalized, as said by Ashish ji. So, sir, आप इसके अलावा और कुछ?
No. My question is, adjudicating authority just straight away reject.
No, Pratim, I've understood your question. Let me answer. I'll answer it this way. Number one.
Yes, please.
Most of the time, you see, your matters do not reach. So please wait for that time. Don't be proactive. Number one. Number two, assuming your matter reaches and the judge is ready to listen to your arguments and other things, you can always say that, look, Milords, this rainbow judgment has come. Let us also understand the impact of it. So you can always bargain time from the judges also, if that is their opinion. If they're not looking at rainbow, then you need not be bothered about that. So to go ahead and argue your case. But if they talk about rainbow, assuming the judge says, then you can always say that, look, Milords, give us some time. Let us examine the impact of it. and then we will come back. Please give us a next date. I think that should be the better strategy. Okay.
Okay. It's now clear. It's now clear. Unless they talk about rainbow, we will go ahead as per the normal course.
Yeah. Yes.
That's sorry, very cool here. Only thing is that the timeline for the submission of resolution plans are there, and you are required to submit as a resolution plan and RA. How do you deal with that situation? Whether to include those views now as a secured and submit the plan to the COC for consideration, or how you wait for because timelines are there for submission of resolution plan. You cannot avoid that. In NCLT you can, but not in before COC.
I think Raviji has got a very valid point. This is an excellent observation, because we are talking about the approved plans by the COC, which can obviously wait. But those plans which have come now before the COC, what is the role of the RP in the light of this judgment? Well, in the light of this judgment, definitely you are going to put that, look, your job is you are a facilitator. You are not there to amend the plans or something. As a facilitator, you must give them the crux of this judgment before the COC. They said, look, this is the judgment, what the judgment says, para 52, 53, 54, which are very important paras. Let the COC take a call. So let the COC discuss and debate among themselves. And then, of course, they will come to a conclusion whether these statutory dues are there or not. Because let me tell you, these statutory dues are there in few cases. I mean, it's not that in 100% of the cases, these statutory dues are there. Sometimes it is not there in the plan itself. So I don't think it will affect many of them, but it will affect, yes, few of them. So this is the strategy which you should adopt as a facilitator. Please guide the COC and leave it on them.
And I am very sure in all such cases, the COC will ask for extension of time.
And one more thing, Madan sir, you had given one solution yesterday.
Yeah.
About this thing. हमने कहा था ना कि give the plan money, how much money I am about to give, and you distribute, you decide in which way I am going to distribute the things.
That was mentioned by me, actually.
I might have confused. Sorry, sir.
I said, look, what we can do is in the plan, RA को बोलो यार मैं 500 crore रुपए दे रहा हूँ plan में, I'm giving 500 crores. You distribute however you want to do that. Let the government distribute it. Let the adjudicating authority distribute it. So, I mean, this is coming to that, because if they say uniform proportional reduction, now that's a dangerous statement. That paragraph is very serious. I'm telling you, this judgment has to go. That's the only alternative. Okay. Yes, ma'am, shall we close now, or do you want to take up some?
Yeah, I have a specific question to GP Madan sir. My hands is raised for a long time. Can I get an opportunity?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pardon?
Yes, Vinod sir, go ahead.
Sir, go ahead.
Yeah, this question is specifically to.
आप प्लीज अनम्यूट कर लो अपने आप को विनोद जी, मैंने आवाज आ रही थी तो सबको म्यूट करा है.
Yeah, this question is specifically to Madan sir. While considering all these charges, Section 77 of Companies Act, which is making mandatory for getting registered the charges with the ROC, and a certificate is also required in the liquidation process. Now, how do we consider this case, particular case?
Vinod ji, I got your question. This will be one of the grounds for review petition.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, nobody could see your hand because hand comes in yellow color in background.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
Anuradha ji, try to speed up. Then Mamta ji will take care.
I have one small question.
There's one more small question. Can we take, sir?
I'm Sivaraman here.
सीताराम जी, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लो.
Based on this judgment, does government authorities become part of the COC moving forward?
जी सर, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लो प्लीज.
हेलो
अखिल जी, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लो, आपकी आवाज.
Okay.
Yes, no, please.
Mr. Sivaraman, we were not able to understand your question. I mean, it was not clear. Maybe you can put it in the chat box.
No, I'm just telling you, sir, right now. So the point is, if this, based on this judgment, Will government authorities become part of the COC working for us?
No, they will not. If your question is that whether because of this judgment they will be a part of the COC, the answer is no, because they remain operational creditors, and operational creditors are not part of the COC. Only one representative of the COC, if their debt is more than 10%, will be a part of the COC without voting right, which is provided in the section. Okay.
It is said that secure operational creditor or creditor, whoever it is, and it comes in 5-2, that is 53-1 में आ रहा है, इसलिए तो मैं पूछ रहा हूँ.
I believe we are not.
Apology,
I mean, at
your
least,
internet connection is not proper. Nobody is able to hear you.
So, Manoj, can I go ahead and propose a thanks?
I think so, because our respectable speakers might be having a very long queue outside their cabin now. People will be waiting for their routine work, and let's not disturb them so much. फिर आगे ही हमारे पास आएंगे नहीं. Please.
My routine work is in front of me.
Mamta ji, I'd like you to thank all the learned and knowledgeable brains who have, as Madan sir said, very great analytical and interpretation skills. Mamta ji, please.
Undoubtedly, and we are very, very honored to host all the learned and brilliant brains in our platform. Thank you to each one of you. It's been a pleasure to hear. And definitely what we have learned today, or what has been reiterated today, will go a long way in maybe putting some kind of straightness in our thinking too. The confusions were galore, and I think the interpretation that has been given today has added to quite a lot of wisdom to us. I'm sure about it. I just wish to say that as Manoj was saying in the beginning, we really have learned IBC by doing a read, reread, and reread of the BLRC. And all of a sudden, when we see the objective of BLRC and definitely the objective of IBC as a preamble, getting topsy-turvy, one thing gets coming to the mind constantly as we are living in a disruptive world. We have seen how startups and how Zomato, etc., in spite of not having such a great net worth, let's not talk about negative net worth, but not having such a great net worth, but getting colossal amount of amounts from the public. We see how disruption is really adding value to the value chain. Let's not be so very negative about the whole thing that's coming up, that's throwing its gears in front of us. This is how any law probably in an economy, which is a working economy, and whose wheels are churning disruptions every day. So I think newness in thoughts is definitely welcome. Yes, it is going to cause temporary disruptions, but that is how we have seen in our children too, that when disruptions comes, the brain starts working, and that's how we today have brainstormed. Otherwise, probably, we were resting in our house because we knew what IBC is all about. We were not attending too many sessions because we thought we know it all. And suddenly this Honorable Supreme Court judgment has kind of racked our brains again and forced us to study again. So we should be grateful to the Honorable Supreme Court judgment in a sense that it's allowing us to think. What I would also like to say about Vidarbha, and not as an opinion, but of course, as a person with some logical thinking, Vidarbha seems to be quite cognitive. It seems to be quite logical. And I also feel that Vidarbha is a good judgment. Of course, we may think that it's not going to get us business. It's going to not bring too many companies to IBC. And therefore, the whole objective of IBC, where it said that it's important that at a drop of a hat, if the company is not able to pay its debts when it is due, it's important that it should not be waited to get into ICU, but at the first instance, it should be taken to the hospital for getting it mended. But I think Vidarbha has also shown a way that at a drop of a hat, it's not important to have such disruption like IBC, and some opportunities be given if it is actually bona fide. So there are too many things which is crossing our minds, and sessions like these definitely helps us. I would just also maybe for a minute say that we've been hearing the DVAT, etc., or maybe the current GST, we must see the law and see whether they are secured creditors by virtue of law. I don't know, because these are crown debts, and by virtue of being those crown effect debts, these kind of not mortgage, these kind of charges, if I may say so, is there. So will that be treated as secured creditors is only going to time is going to say, because I work quite a lot for the Kolkata Port Trust here, and I've seen that how Kolkata Port Trust, though in the Public Premises Eviction Act and in their own act of Kolkata Port Trusts Act, because it's a port trust under the central government, they have so many versions in the act which says that everything, if it is not paying the money, everything that lies in that premises, it's charged to us, etc., etc. But law doesn't unfold itself when it goes to IBC because of the non-obstante clause. And I think if this is the view that going forward we are able to take, then I think it will really put IBC out of gear, and definitely banks will not look at it. That's something very, very collateral. I don't want to call it a damage, but that's collateral thing that's going to happen. I'm grateful that today IIPA, put together with the NCLT Kolkata Bar Association, has been able to host this very, should I say it beautiful? I don't know whether my choice of word is good or not, but definitely it's an evening which is filled with learning. And for insolvency professionals, what a better evening that would be spent when it is not without learning. Because we thrive when we learn. We thrive when we are together. We thrive when we go to adjudicating authorities and listen so many viewpoints. We thrive in adversity. So let's embrace adversity. Let's embrace so many thoughts that's coming across our minds. And we will continue this learning sessions for times to come. So a big thank you to not only our esteemed speakers, but also our esteemed participants, because without you, no platform is good enough for anyone. Thanks a ton.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. इनफैक्ट इस सेशन के बाद मैं इस जो हमारा यूट्यूब का वीडियो आपने रिकॉर्ड करा है, मैं उसको डेफिनेटली दोबारा देखूंगा. एंड आई फील ये फीलिंग, दिस काइंड ऑफ फीलिंग मस्ट बी कमिंग इन द माइंड ऑफ एवरी अदर पर्सन आल्सो, बिकॉज लॉ हैज बीन टॉट टू अस in such a brilliant manner that I love to revise this law. With this note of thank Madan sir, Ashish sir, और सिंघवी सर, and Mamta ji तो खैर मेरी बहन है. She is part and parcel of me as an IIPA. We are really grateful. We are really thankful, and we'll always love to listen to you. लेकिन इस बारी तो हमारा our love has get converted into ick also, because it was really wonderful revolving and evolving session. Thank you very much. We shall trouble you again also. With this note, I end my session. Thank you.